You know, every artist has a beginning. Some artists start with fancy studios, fancy products, fancy pencils, and whatnot. I personally did not have any of those. In this video, I will just draw this cute little cherry splashing in the water, and I'll also tell you a story of my beginnings and how I started my art journey. This is not a tutorial, this is just story time with me as I draw cherry splashing in the water. I'll just give you the basics on how I did this cherry drawing though. So usually when I start my drawings, I do it with the grid method. Some artists think that's very basic, but honestly, I couldn't care less because it's me who decides. And I personally find it very comforting and very easy to follow the grid method. I can eyeball it too, but for accuracy, I like using the grid method. So I go ahead, I draw this cherry using the grid method. And oh, by the way, I have a lot of tutorials on the grid method that I'll link it down in the description and also in this video. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, just don't forget to like and subscribe. I mean, come on, I'm making all this video and stuff for you guys, and the least I could get was is a like and a subscribe, right? Anywho, so I usually start with a 2B pencil and I just do the base shade. I fill it in with a 2B pencil and then I gradually build up. That's my technique in drawing, basically, or pencil shading. I don't directly start with a high value pencil because it's so hard to erase it if you make any mistakes. But when you start with a 2B pencil and gradually build up, you get a lot of options for erasing and there's room for mistake actually. So after my 2B pencil, I gradually build up to 4B and then to 6B, 8B, and so on. Of course, I use a tiny, super tiny blending stump that's helping me, and also a mechanical eraser for the highlights. For blending, I just use a blending stump and a brush. I don't use my fingers at all. I would never recommend that you use your fingers. So just follow these steps basically, and then your drawing will turn out super nice. Now back to my story on how this whole art passion started and how I really went deep into art. So, like I mentioned, my beginning was when I was in grade 6. I was tiny, I was dramatic, and I was thinking that I'm the next Picasso because I drew an eye with lashes. I mean, that was a big achievement for me back then. Or I drew a girl with long hair that was flying because it was windy that day. So that was an achievement. And honestly, my dad saw me drawing all the time. I used to draw on my notebooks, on tissue boxes, in the corner of my homeworks, my assessments even, and even inside my cupboard. I remember I had doodled so much on my cupboard that I was punished for it one day and I had to sit and clean the whole cupboard. Yeah, that happened to me. So when my dad saw that I have the passion for drawing, he kept on encouraging me and he kept on pushing me and he kept on bringing stuff that would help me draw. I remember he got me pencil shading books where I draw landscapes and evaluate myself. I mean, that was a thing back then. So, yeah, I'm thankful for it, to be honest. And he got me canvases and he got me paint brushes, oil paints, acrylic paints, you name it, you know. He even got me crochet hooks and it was that net kind of crochet thingy that I don't know what it's called. I'll put a picture in a bit. And now I hate that so much because I used to do so much of them back then, but now I hate them. Okay, back to the drawing. I just want to add that I tried to use graphite powder over here. It did not really work. I don't know why though. This was homemade graphite powder. two different values, but none of them worked. If you know why, just mention it down in the comments below, because honestly, it was so disappointing. It took me a very hard time to actually build up on this graphite powder. So instead of that, I just went ahead and used pastel powder, which worked perfectly fine. But I think the brush I'm using over here was bad, so I have to change the brush. The brush that I just used was like a square tip brush, not a fluffy one. I think I should have used a fluffy brush. So I just switched to the fluffy brush. Anyway, back to my story. So, like I said, that I was encouraged by him, and he took me one day to the stationery shop, and he asked me to buy the brushes and the paints and the stuff that I want. And he didn't really stop there. No, 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 he did not. He became my personal art agent. Every time I finished a drawing, he'd take it to work and show his artist colleagues. I mean, yes, I don't know if they were actual artists, to be honest, but he'd be like, my daughter drew this. I'd draw on canvases, and he would take them to work and show off to his friends. And his colleagues would give advice and feedback and tips and stuff. I don't remember him passing any negative comments, but I'm sure they had comments. I mean, if I'm looking at my drawings back then, I think I would have a lot of comments. Yeah. But my dad, he'd come home repeating every compliment, and he'd just say, see, I told you they liked it. I told you that they said that it's amazing. I swear he believed in me more than I believed in myself. But then, life happened. I grew up, went to university, assignments, deadlines, classes. I mean, if you're in university, you know how it is. It just eats your hobbies alive. So, drawing went from every day to maybe later to I'll come back to it to nothing. Years passed, my pencils dried, my sketchbook stayed closed, and I didn't touch art at all. Fast forward many years, I'm married, busy, managing life, and one random day, my 6-year-old walks up to me holding a paper and a pencil, and she goes like, can you draw an eagle for me? And I was like, an eagle? Why didn't you start with a smiley face? I mean, eagle? But I took the pencil and I just started Googling some eagle pictures, and I started drawing, and something crazy happened. The lines flowed. My hands remembered everything. The shading came naturally. And that eagle, it did come out good. I mean, I wouldn't say it was amazing, but it did come out really good. I actually stared at it like, oh my God, I still have the talent? And yes, that eagle is still on my Instagram page, and my Instagram link is also in the description. Go have a look at it. And that's the moment my entire art journey restarted. Thanks to that one little girl who wanted an eagle. So now here I am drawing this cherry, and while I draw it, I'm thinking about the 6th grade girl who fell in love with art and the mom who rediscovered it years later. And it's not just a cherry. Now I crochet, I paint, I do crafts, so many things that's related to art. So, yeah, that's pretty much how my art journey started. Here it is, a cherry, a pencil, a whole lifetime behind. If you made it this far, remember this. Sometimes life pauses your dreams, but it also gives you unexpected ways to restart them. Mine started with my dad, paused for years, restarted because of my daughter, and continues because of moments like this. So thank you for drawing with me, and if you ever lose your art, maybe this is your sign to come back. because your cherry moment is waiting.